What's up, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with some more fantasy football content. Gonna be here all day breaking down all of the new free agency news as it breaks. So if you're looking to get the latest fantasy football content on all these free agency moves, hit that subscribe button down below. As always, hit the like button, hit those comments down below. I'll respond to any comments that anyone leaves. It helps out the video a lot, and I really appreciate all the support that the videos have been getting lately. So today we're going to be talking about Aaron Jones's fantasy contract, or his new contract, and the fantasy fallout from it. So without further ado, let's get into the video, but we have a few people to thank before we do. So I just want to thank some of our supporters who have been subscribing, commenting on the videos, all of that good stuff in this last week or 10 days or so. They're all listed there. Don't want to shout out too many of your guys at Oyebrin, Matt, SXX, Zin, and Green Guy. All you guys have been commenting, subscribing, or both, and I really appreciate all the support that we've been getting. So before we get into this video, just so everybody knows, this video should probably be coming out around 11 o'clock, and free agency starts at noon today. So we are going to be breaking down all the deals as they happen. So yeah. Stick around. All right, but let's get into this Aaron Jones talk now. Okay, so the biggest winner of the Aaron Jones contract, honestly, is Aaron Jones. He has been an absolute beast for fantasy each of the last two seasons. He's finished as a top 5 back both of the last two seasons. The only other running backs to do that are Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry are the only two. So year-to-year consistency has just been pretty incredible. Let's look at some of his stats. So his 2019 stats, where he went absolutely off for fantasy and finishes as the RB3. He had 236 carries, 1,084 rushing yards, 19 total touchdowns, and 49 receptions. Absolutely went off that year. Was ridiculous for fantasy. If you drafted him that year, there's a good chance that you were contending for your league. The next year, everyone was down on him a little bit, and still was a stud again. Finished this year as RB5 in 2020. He had 201 carries, 1,104 rushing yards, 11 total touchdowns, and that was only in 14 games. And he averaged almost 17 fantasy points per game in 2020. So Aaron Jones, he's a dynamic fantasy running back. I think his play style, not play style exactly, but fantasy production, I think he's somewhere in between like a Dalvin Cook and an Alvin Kamara as far as his skill set goes and utilization. Dalvin Cook, you don't see involved in the passing game quite as much as Aaron Jones. I don't think he's as dynamic either. But he doesn't get 300 carries the way that Dalvin Cook does. But he does get 230, somewhere around that, if he is healthy. And I expect him to be going forward, especially when he signed a 4-year, $48 million deal, $13 million signing bonus. We don't know how much of that is guaranteed money so far, but regardless, when you get paid that much, he's going to get the ball over and over again. He showed that he's extremely productive as well. So let's talk about, he has the third highest yards per carry in NFL history through someone's first 4 seasons as well, behind only Jamaal Charles and Nick Chubb. He's over 5 yards a carry for his career. He's a dynamic runner. That's why I said the Kamara comp. He's just so efficient with the ball in his hands. Kamara, gets the 80 receptions. He gets closer to that 50, 60 number, but he gets well over 200 carries if he stays healthy with that almost 240 in 2019. I do honestly, though, with them drafting A.J. Dillon in the second round, I expect his carries to come down closer to right around that 200, maybe 220 mark, because A.J. Dillon is more of a bruiser. And Jamaal Williams is going to be leaving in free agency, and he was more of a third down pass protecting back. But A.J. Dillon really isn't that role, so I really expect Aaron Jones to fill even more pass catching. I think he could get up to that 60 reception mark this year easily, get 200 carries. And that's the thing, for your running backs, receptions are way more valuable than carries are, especially in half-point PPR leagues or PPR leagues. I think in half-point PPR leagues, though, they're still the 3 times worth 3 times as much as a carry or more than that. So the increase in pass catching volume could be huge for Aaron Jones going forward. He returns also to a stellar offensive line. The Green Bay Packers finished the year as the second highest graded offensive line according to Pro Football Focus. They really dominated last year. They're losing their center Corey Linsley most likely to free agency, but they're a team that drafts well and has good depth pieces across the offensive line. I expect them to be able to find a solid replacement for him and just keep chugging. So Jamaal Williams is going to leave. He had 31 receptions last year. That's gone. Again, A.J. Dillon, he's got solid hands, but I expect him, he might catch 20 passes, but I would really be surprised if he catches much more than that. So I do think Aaron Jones, gets a lot more of that third down work, especially as A.J. Dillon is a young player. And then as far as Aaron Jones, where do I see him now that he's staying in Green Bay? I talked a lot about him leaving and how I was buying A.J. Dillon in fantasy and stuff like that. So where do I rank Aaron Jones rest of season or in my draft right now? I think this is going to be a little higher than most, but I think most people sleep on Aaron Jones, honestly. Okay, so 1, I still have Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, I'm probably taking Dalvin Cook. And at 3, I'm probably taking Derrick Henry. But then at 4, I'm going to take Aaron Jones. I just love the combination of volume, the dynamic ability that he brings to the game. I rank him ahead of Alvin Kamara now that Taysom Hill might be the starting quarterback for the Saints after he signed that massive deal. It's looking like him and Jameis are going to compete. But you sign somebody to a deal like that, it's not to be a fullback. I would not be surprised if he is the starting quarterback for the Saints next year. And beforehand, I really did think it was going to be Jameis, almost certainly. But let's move on to the loser of this deal. Aaron Jones, top 5 running back moving forward for fantasy in 2021. Absolute stud. Big-time winner. Got paid. Good for him. Excellent player. Excellent person. Okay, loser, though, is A.J. Dillon. With him signing this 4-year deal, it's basically, he's going to be in Green Bay, assuming he doesn't get cut, which he definitely could. That's how a lot of this guaranteed money works out, is they'll sign him for a year or two and then cut him, especially these running backs. But we haven't seen the details of the deal yet, so we don't fully know. So I would wait till the details come out, see how much guaranteed money is in those later years. If there's a lot, I'd move on from A.J. Dillon immediately. I think he'll get 100-something carries. I could see him even getting 150, but 150 carries and very little utilization in the passing game is not going to do much for fantasy. He'll be a great start if Aaron Jones ever misses games. I do expect the Packers to be even more cautious with Aaron Jones going forward. Now that he's such a big asset to their team and they're paying him so much money, they're going to keep him fresh throughout that deal. And they already have a pretty cautious approach to injuries. So if you made it this far, please hit that like button on this video. Hit that subscribe button down below. Going to bring you tons of fantasy football content throughout this free agency. Videos, bunch of videos are going to be coming today and tomorrow, maybe even Wednesday, as these deals break. So yeah, until next time, this is Fancy Joe signing off. Peace out.